This is our lesson on repaying loans with using simple interest. Simple interest is something very common, more so common for savings accounts than other things, but you will run across it. So let's look at how to repay a loan using simple interest. So when you borrow money from banks, you have to pay it back with interest. They don't just give away for free. So interest is that money you pay to borrow the money or use their credit. The interest rate determines how much the loan will cost you. The higher the interest rate, the higher the cost of the loan. So simple interest is interest equals principal times rate. This is the formula. If I have this on pen, let's put this back on pen. So this is the formula up here. Interest equals principal times rate times time, where P is the principal, the starting money. R is the rate, usually given a percentage. We have to convert it to a decimal. And T is the time in years. Make sure it's always in years. If you get it in months, convert that to years, whether it's a full year or part of a year. So simple interest is paid at the end of the term based on the principal at the beginning. So let's do a simple interest problem. We know that simple interest is I equals P times rate times time. That's really a hard one to see. Let me change this color. It's a little difficult to see. So let me pick something a little better, okay? So here, we're doing just equations just like we did before. We don't know what the interest is. The principal we know is 5,000 times the rate is 15%. If we take that to decimals, that's 0.15 times the time, which is 2 years. So all you gotta do is that. Get out a calculator, do some multiplication. You should have come out with $1,500. I equals 1,500. So the interest owed is $1,500. What's the total repayment? The total, or A, the amount, is interest plus principal. You're going to see that again. So interest, 5,000 plus 15,000. So A equals the interest, or 1,500, plus the principal, which is 5,000. And total, that is $6,500. Quite an expensive loan. So let's do some word problems, see how this works out. Andreas invested $1,000 in a savings account. After 4 years, the account had earned a total of $112 simple interest. Without any additional deposit, what was his interest rate? Well, let's go through the parts we know. We know that interest equals principal times rate times time. If you hear the shaking, it's my hound dog shaking at me because she's getting hungry. And she doesn't bark, she shakes her ears. So 1,000 was the principal. 4 years was the time. It's already given in years, so we're good. And 112 simple interest was the interest. Now we're going to do this just like we did any other equation. We're going to put it in. So 112, that's the interest, equals the principal, 1,000, times the rate, which we don't know, that's our unknown, times the time in years, which is 4 years. So we're going to do this. We go ahead and solve what we can. We can't multiply that in, but we can multiply 4 times 1,000. So 112 equals 4 times 1,000, which is 4,000, times the rate. Now, we're back at a simple equation, just like we've done before. We've got a coefficient. It's other than 1. We're going to have to divide. And if we divide one side, we divide the other. Go ahead and get a calculator. 112 divided by 4,000. So you should have come up with 0.028, and that equals the rate. Now, the rate's always given in percents. So if the rate equals 0.028, that's the same as, we move that 2 decimal places to make percents, 2.8%. And we just solved that. Let's look at another problem, written a little different. So Randy invested $1,000 for a college in an account earning 5% simple interest. When she withdrew the investment, she had earned a total of $550 in interest. How long was the money invested? So how long? We're looking for T. T's are unknown. So let's go back and label it, because we know that I, interest, equals principal times rate times time. So our principal is $1,000. Our rate is 5%. And our I is 550. So let's label it down. 550 equals the principal, $1,000, times the rate. So times the rate, 5% is 0.05, times the time, in this case just T. Well, let's combine things. 1,000 times 0.05. That brings us out to 50. So 550 equals 50 times T. We're back to a now equation we can solve. We got multiplication here. The opposite of that is division. So we divide by the coefficient. That's 50. We do it to both sides. So 550 divided by 50. Go ahead and do your math. We get 11 is the time in years. So it was out there 11 years. Long time, but made good money. All right, let's look at another problem. This one's a little more complex in that we have to make a table to deal with it. So Gina deposits $150 at the start of each year into a college savings account that pays 4% simple interest. At the end of each year, how much total interest will Gina earn on deposits to the end of, and I'm going to change this to the third year. So I'm going to change this to the third year. So to do this, we need a table, and I happily made a table. So here's my table, and it goes through. Now, because simple interest works as it is, we're not going to combine and figure out how much she makes until the end. So each year, she's going to put $150 in it. Each year, she's going to put $150 in it. Now, let's look at this first year. The rate is always the same, is 4% or 0.04. We're going to figure out the interest earned and then the total of that. Now, how many years is the first year's money going to be in there? It's going to be, time is going to equal 3 years. Now, the second year, the money's only going to be in there 2 years. And the third year, the money's only going to be in there 1 year. Now, that's important when we're calculating our loan, because remember, simple interest, we don't do interest on the interest. That's compound interest. So this table will get a little weird, but let's do year one. I'm going to put down here, if I can find my thingy. So year one, I'm going to do my first year. Interest equals principal, which is $150, times rate, which is 0.04, times time, which will be 3 years. Do the math. So interest on that first one is $18. So the total would be $150 plus 18, or $168 and no cents. Now let's second year. The second year she puts in $150. We're calculating that based on how many years that's going to be in, and that's going to be in there 2 years. So our problem in the second year becomes I equals 150 times 0.04 times 2, because it's in there for 2 years. Go ahead and do your math. And you should come up with $12. So the total is, or A, because total is A, is 150 plus 12, or $162. Let's go to year 3. She puts another $150 in there at 0.4 cents. So year 3, I equals 150 times 0.04 times 1. Go ahead and calculate and get it. If you haven't seen the pattern, start paying attention. So 150 times 0.04 times 1. She made $6 for $156. Now, if I wanted to know how much total interest she will earn on her deposits through the end of the third year, I need to add all three of these. So total interest, that total interest is 18 plus 12 plus 6. Go ahead and add them up. And you should have got $36. So that's how much she made through all the years. A little more complicated. You really won't see this kind of table calculations much with simple interest. But if you see it, you'll know it. All right. I hope that helped. I look forward to working with you. Come and ask questions if you don't get it.